Hey guys, coming at you with another video here. Haven't made one in a while, so I figured I'd make one. So, as everyone knows by now, there was this whole thing that went around with the whole Roe versus Wade thing. And that's a topic that I am going to talk about. I try not to get caught up too much in political squabbles, but this is something that I want to address to people. So, the whole Roe versus Wade thing was the decision of abortions to be turned back to the states. And everyone is all upset about it, of course. I personally don't know why. It's the decision of the states. But there are a few points that they want to try to make that I say is invalid. And I am going to make those points here. Now, the first point I saw when I first heard about this was that women's rights, or women's constitutional rights, are being taken away. Well, in all reality, they're not. Because abortions didn't, or the decision of abortions didn't become a Supreme Court ruling or anything like that or a constitutional right until 1992. It was not part of the original Constitution. So therefore, women's rights are not being taken away. I don't know how you can even say that. It's not part of the original Constitution. And then people are going to argue back on that, saying that, well, a woman should have a choice on what to do with her body. Well, for one, it is not her body. It's inside her body, but it's not hers. That is a whole separate life, whole separate DNA. So it's not her body. And if I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think half of this population even freaking knows what abortion is. Abortion is tearing a baby out of their mother limb from limb. That's what it is. And if you didn't know that, well, you just learned something. But if you did know that and you still support abortion, I'm sorry, but I think you deserve to have the same thing happen to you. That is my personal opinion, and I'm being honest and straightforward about it. You can hate me, you can call me selfish all you freaking want to, but that's also going to come from people who doesn't even know me, so you have no room to speak. So, yeah, those are the first 2 points. It's women's constitutional rights being taken away, and they're not. She has a right to do what she wants with her body. It's not her body. It is its whole separate life. It's not hers. Another thing that I see is if she is pregnant and having a baby due to rape, and she doesn't want said baby because it will remind her of what happened. But not even 1% of all abortions is even from rape. So that is a very low percentage, and it doesn't happen enough for it to be an argument. And even if it did, I personally do not think that the baby should be blamed for what was done to it. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a terrible thing, and I'm sorry it happened to you, and I am one of those that if I hear about it, and if I ever come across that guy who did it, I'm going to beat the living crap out of him. So like I said, I'm sorry it happened, but then again, I don't think that baby shouldn't have a chance at life and be torn limb from limb all because of that happening. I feel like they should still have a chance at life. Another thing that I see is if abortion being okay, if it would save the mother's life because she can't carry the baby full term, or she could die giving birth to the baby. Okay, well, I did a little bit of research with help from a family member. A couple family members, actually. Because that, honestly, that was a good point to me at first. But after doing a little bit of research, the chances of dying from giving birth happens 1 in every 5,000 pregnancies. So just like the whole rape argument, it's a low number. So then again, it's not a valid argument because it doesn't happen enough for it to be an argument, for it to be a problem. And the thing is on top of that, is that is actually just crap that doctors say to get you to have an abortion. Because that's more money for Planned Parenthood. Nothing's free. I don't know if abortions are free or not, if you've got to pay to have one. But regardless, they're getting money somehow, because they're going to have to pay property taxes and crap like that. Where are they getting the money from? And that's what it's all about. It's all about the money. So they will lie to mothers and say they can't carry the baby or nothing like that, or their body ain't going to be able to carry the baby, and they can possibly die when conceiving a baby, or if their body ain't able to carry it full term. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but if their body isn't able to carry it full term, I would think they would have a miscarriage or something. And yes, that's sad too. But then again, this whole topic is sad to me. So, again, low number, not a valid argument. So you can stop throwing that up. Another thing people will say is, well, about us, that says about adopting a child, and they want to be mad at us because we're not going out and adopting the thousands of children that's up for adoption. The problem is that those children that are up for adoption are considered the government's children. So, of course, we already just talked about that the government is all about the money. So, of course, it costs a lot to adopt a child. It really does. And that, honestly, it costs nothing to find a better home for the child versus getting the government involved. Now, legally, yes, you got to have the government involved nowadays because the government is in everything nowadays. So, you know, it's whatever. Trust me, if I could, I would adopt every child. But we do need more foster parents out there who are good parents to children, not those who are in it for the money. But you shouldn't blame us for saying about adopt instead of abortion, because the government is the one that screws all of that up. You need to be mad about the system, the way the system works, not mad at us because we're expressing how we think. Another thing that someone's thrown out, and honestly, this is the one that makes me mad the most, is that these people saying about the separation of the church and the state, and talking about the rights of the separation of church and the state, saying they're mad about Christians saying that we need to put God back in schools and we need to put God back in this country, and then they say that these are the people that say we don't. Okay, so if you don't, how do you think we're in the mess that we're in? How do you think this country is in the mess that we're in? Because it started by taking God out of schools, and then we pretty much kicked God out of the country. And that is what this country was founded on, was believing in God. Believing that He would get us through. That's what this country was founded on. So yes, we need to put God back in schools. We need to put God back in this country. And before you bring up about the right of separation of the church and the state, hush. I mean, honestly, the only reason that you want to bring that up is because you don't believe in God. Quotes around that. You claim you don't believe in God. But let me ask you this. You say you don't believe in God and you think He's a fairy tale. So He's not allowed in the country or in schools. But unicorns and leprechauns are fairy tales, and you allow kids to go to school believing in them. I mean, you got coloring books, you got movies, just TV shows, the whole 9 yards of this stuff. And you allow them to go to school, and little kids believing in something that doesn't exist. So, if God doesn't exist, what's the problem in people believing in Him in this country and sending your kids to school believing in God? What's the problem with that if He's a fairy tale like you claim? So, again, that is an argument that is not valid. And granted, I personally don't see what the separation of the church and state has anything to do with abortions. Other than the fact that us true Christians believe that abortion is wrong, and one of the 10 commandments is do not kill, and yet here we are. That's what you're doing when you're tearing a baby apart. That sounds so wrong. It makes me want to cry every time I say that. When you're doing that, that is killing an innocent life. And it's wrong. That's why us Christians have such a problem with it. And then you want to say separation of the church and the state. Well, I don't even know what that means. So, again, not a valid argument. And that just none of the points that y'all try to throw out there is valid whatsoever. It makes no sense. But y'all are making excuses to justify your wrongdoing. And the sad part to me about it is that the arguments I hear this from hasn't had a baby, hasn't had any of this crap happen to them. They're getting all of their crap that they believe from the news, like CNN and ABC and all of this other crap, all these other news medias that is run by liberals, by Democrats, They get all of that information, and honestly, they don't even know what they're talking about. They just repeat the same thing over and over. And it's honestly crazy. And it's sad to me that people that I've gone to school with, who I thought were smart and well-read, believe this stuff. I figured that out of all people, that they would be the ones to have their eyes open to the fact that abortion is wrong. And they're not. They're the ones that actually believe the news and just wants to throw any little excuse out there to justify killing the babies. And my cousin just made a point the other day, and I can't really read it off of you for two reasons. I'm driving and I'm recording off the phone that I have the point on. But to sum it up, the left will not call a baby if there's not a heartbeat or anything like that. Well, heck, for the longest time, abortions were legal clear up to birth. So they won't call it a baby as long as it's inside the mother, basically. Unless it has something to do with rape. That is the only time that they will admit that it's an actual baby. My personal belief, as early as the fetus, is start of a new life. It might not have a heartbeat yet, or the embryo, or what. As soon as you find out that you're pregnant, that is the start of a new life, regardless if there's a heartbeat or not. And if you get an abortion, then you're just wrong for doing so. And another family member of mine sent me a thing the other day. Studies show that the 3 top reasons of getting an abortion is, one of them, you're not ready for the child. 2, you didn't think it would ever happen. Or 3, you're worried that your boyfriend or whatever is going to leave if they find out. And honestly, those are the most selfish reasons I've ever heard of. And it's just, so that's the top 3 reasons that abortions happen. So any of your arguments are invalid completely, and you have no room to argue with me whatsoever. And it just, that's it. That's all the points I can make. I can't begin to fathom how you think that abortions is a good thing. Because when you say abortion, I think of the baby being torn apart. And that is just wrong. Completely wrong. It's heartbreaking. How could you do that to someone? But then again, these are also coming from the people who didn't give a crap about our people being stuck in Afghanistan crying for help. No one was a little bit upset about that at all. Except people who actually care about other people. It is sad. And honestly, I'm ashamed to be a part of this country because everyone's so upset about it. But all I can say is that you can agree, you can disagree. If we're friends on Facebook and you see this and you think I'm selfish for saying this is how I believe and you tell me to unfriend you, you should be the one hitting the button, because I can maintain a friendship with people who have the exact opposite belief from me. But you, because when you say unfriend me because this is what you believe, that just tells me that you're not capable of maintaining a friendship with someone who believes the exact opposite. So, in my eyes, you're childish. You're childish, you're not an adult, so therefore, you can't make any arguments whatsoever, because if you can't sit there and have a conversation instead of getting mad when someone has the opposite belief from you, you can't argue anything. It's one thing if you're completely passionate about it, but if you're completely passionate about abortions, then you're just a selfish human being. And that is my thoughts on this whole thing. So like I said, you can agree or disagree, or you can agree to disagree. I couldn't care less. But that's my thoughts, that's my views, and as long as I'm still living and breathing, I'm going to stand up for our babies. And I personally think that if you support abortion, then you do not need to be part of the Save Our Children part, where kids and teenagers have to deal with pedophiles. I don't think you should be part of that. Because if you're okay with tearing a baby apart, then you shouldn't argue about anything else. Kids shouldn't even matter to you. Heck, if you're a teenager arguing this argument, then you're basically saying that your life doesn't matter. So, that's my point, that's my views, and if you don't like it and you want to be all mad or offended, go tell it to someone else, because I'm not listening to it. If you don't understand these points, I'm sorry for you. But that's it. That's my point. Take it as you want it. I don't really care. So, see you next time I make a video. I don't know when that will be, because I need some better quality equipment. But I'll see y'all next time.